So 2 years from now, we're going to look back at this video. This is exactly why we started recording these things, because we've been at it for, I don't know, 3-4 years by now. Again, I don't know. We've been at it for a long while doing this back and forth. And again, it's usually contained to our WhatsApp group. But this is why I love this, because I'm going to win this discussion. And in 2 years, we're going to look back at this video and I'm going to tell Agam, remember how I told you that this is going to happen? So today we're going to talk about something that's been around the YouTube space for a long while, ever since the kind of ChatGPT bubble exploded, AI automation agencies. So if you go into YouTube and look for AI automation agencies,
you see scams.
Yeah, exactly, it's a scam. But also you see people coming again and telling you, oh, how to start one, how to do one, maybe you should do a different one, yada, 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 yada. The nice thing about the whole new wave of AI automation agencies is that if you've been around for a while, you know that this is not the first wave of its kind. I am 31. I was born in 92, which means I've seen quite a lot of these waves in the past. Specifically, you'll note that if you've been around maybe, I don't know, 2006, 2007, there was the whole like mobile application craze thing. And then you had the social media marketing craze thing where everybody and their brother was building an agency. And then you had, a while after that, you had like the crypto thing where everybody was working on Web3 and DeFi and crypto and whatnot. And AI is kind of the newest thing in that region of people trying to build up agencies and stuff. NFTs also. It was a thing in crypto land, I think. I'm really not a crypto guy. So
Subsection.
Exactly. And about the current flood, the current wave of automation agencies, I feel as if there's a little bit of a difference than the previous waves. And this is why we wanted to talk about it. And we kind of came to it following a major event that happened recently, at least from my perspective, which is Alex Hormozi's book launch for $100 million lead.
Which by the way, his presentation is amazing. If you want to learn how to create suspense in a presentation and a plot twist, you got to see it. It's just like mind-blowing.
It's like watching a movie. It's one of the best presenters I've ever seen. And other than being a terrific salesperson, a person who knows kind of how to push his agenda forward, he's a very inspiring guy. And I think this is the main thing that kind of works with him is the fact that he's super inspiring. Like, you know, came from nothing, built it up. He and his wife is like a super mega team. We love them. Everybody in our groups love them. They're just a good story together. And him, you know, as a person. So we got out of this whole event super inspired. A lot of motivation, a lot of like wanting to jump and kind of roam the world and make a shit ton of money. And I think that this is a good time to speak about the AI automation agencies and explain why we think it's a really interesting business. So what is an AI automation agency? What the folks around the web will tell you is essentially you take ChatGPT, you put it inside of Zapier, and then you connect some things and make AI work inside your business. I view it in a little bit of a different perspective. Let's start from the beginning. Why does an OpenAI, using OpenAI, build every single possible AI product in the world? I think that the main reason is specialization. You got to focus on your core competencies. Developing a model like GPT-4 is super difficult and capital intensive. And OpenAI focuses on creating the best models in the business and then the best product experience around them, like ChatGPT. Now, Agam might clarify a little bit later about what exactly his opinion about where OpenAI is going. But for now, I want to mention that there is a lot of opportunity by specializing the needs or the capabilities of AI models inside different businesses. And even more specifically, I think that a smart person wanting to open some sort of AI automation business will be wise to look at the intersections. And I want to explain. So in any given business, you have intersections between different departments in the business. You've got sales, marketing, product, analytics, whatever, fulfillment, processing, whatever. And I think that a lot of the time you need people to get in a room together to coordinate between the different departments and understand what the next move should be. Let me give a concrete and simple example. If there is a lot of customer churn, if a lot of customers are living on the customer support front, a lot of the time, the product itself suffers from some sort of issue. Maybe the product is not delivered on time. Maybe the product itself is flawed. Maybe the experience in the website is bad. Again, not exactly sure, but something is wrong. The customer support team, well, a smart CEO will kind of check what the customer support team says and then try and implement it back into the product or into fulfillment or whatever. That's a correlation between two departments that needs to happen, ideally without the involvement of the CEO at all, and maybe not ideally, but in a good world, with a small involvement from the CEO, or it's just decision-making. A CEO is a decision-making machine. It shouldn't be dealt with like dealing with processing the data and whatnot. And I think that smart AI automation kind of people would try and figure out how to make that process, those internal processes, faster. Again, a concrete example using AI. If there was some sort of AI tool running across the entire customer support question database and extracting the 5 most difficult things with numbers that happen in the customer support side of things, bring it over to the CEO so he can decide exactly what is actually more important given his vision of the business. And then another AI product would take those little snippets of information from the customer support and create full RFDs, kind of request, what's the proper term? The proper term, like
request for
document.
PRD, product.
PRD, sorry, no, it's like an RFC. No, so a PRD for like the product team, based on those customer support, where the only thing required from the CEO is looking at those 5 things, prioritizing them, and then handing them over to the AI model for the product. So these are 2 very different tools. The thing that generates the PRDs and the thing that extracts and summarizes the customer support question database are 2 different models that need to work together and then be presented to the CEO somehow. A smart
Why is it an agency and not a product?
I think that there are a lot of these types. It's like a many-to-many relationship. So there's a lot of different branches where this could go. This could go from the product team to the processing team. This could go from the customer support team to the product team, from the marketing team to the sales team. There could be multiple branches required on a given thing. For example, in the product launch, where you need everyone involved because you need to update the help center and maybe change the payment processing and define the product and create the marketing for it and train the salespeople. So there's too many intersections inside any given business in order to do that reliably over time. So what do? You put people in a room. That's usually the solution. You put people in a room together and they figure it out, a virtual one or a physical one, but you put them together in a room. What I'm saying, let's make all of those processes a little bit easier by utilizing various AI products and not by doing it yourself as the CEO who's not a master of AI tools, but have someone external who knows all the relevant AI tools for all the relevant businesses and then knows how to wire them together in order to make the value appear.
And so you're not talking about AI automation agencies. You're talking about AI department automation or department optimization.
I'm saying that everyone is going to look at AI automation from a Zapier or Integromat-like perspective. Let's take input, put it into a model, and then present the output in a beautiful way. I'm saying if you want to win this game, if you want to be the best AI automation agency and charge a fuck ton of dollars for what you do, there's an easy thing you can focus on that I think not a lot of people are going to focus on, which is the fact the CEO or the executive in a company wants to look at a bit of information, valid, definitive, concrete, true information, and just make decisions. They don't want to follow up and make sure that the thing actually worked. They don't want to do QA about it. They don't want to consider whether the veracity of the data is there or not. They just want to make decisions and move on.
So now the question is, why do you need AI? Because I can query all these departments, put them in a database, just be someone who experienced a startup or a business similar to the current one I'm working with, and just give my own, insights to the CEO.
So first of all, there's a wave happening right now of CEOs and people generally potentially welcoming AI into their businesses. It's something that needs to be mentioned very forcefully into the discussion. So essentially, the fact that AI is so hot right now is a great motivator. It's a door opener. Essentially, if you say you can do this with AI, people will listen to you, which is a meaning that wouldn't have happened unless the whole AI wave was happening. That's first and foremost. This wasn't the case 2 or 3 years ago, right? So it's something that...
But I think there's also like people who understand what is AI. It might be frowned upon because they'll be like, another AI bullshit, So the actual thing you're doing is getting data from different departments and you're optimizing it, or you're giving insights on the cost disciplinary connections between them. It doesn't have to require AI in my mind. So my question is, where does AI come into this conversation other than the sales process in some companies that don't understand what AI means?
So I think that the executive summary of all of those different departments and then following the decision of the executive, the generation of the next processing line, the email the CEO was expected to send to the product team following the customer support team conclusions, I think this is where the whole AI side of things fits in. The extraction of the data is automatic. People are working and metadata is collected automatically and then absorbed, analyzed, and presented to the CEO. There's a human making the decisions. And then after the decisions are made, there should be actions, emails to be sent, tickets to be filed, meetings to be held. Instead of all of that, the CEO, again, makes the decision, and then another AI system generates the relevant output that the CEO potentially might have had to do to make those things come to life. Now, again, this is just me and my personal opinion. It's not the truth. But I think that because I've seen a lot of these waves in the past, and I've seen the people who were successful, so there's a lot of people who do social media marketing. There's only one Gary Vee, right? And there's only one content system around Gary Vee, and there's only one Alex Hormozi, right? And I'm thinking that despite the fact that a lot of them are using similar tools, nobody will argue that Gary Vee dominates his own niche of a social media world, right? There's a very Gary Vee-like niche. In my opinion, why he's working with Coca-Cola and the other people are working with the restaurant around the street is, yeah, he's a smart guy for sure. But also, he found a way to utilize social media above the level that most people use. He took himself, he put it out there, and he showed the world how social media should be done. Then he implemented, I believe, similar ideas in Vayner Media. I'm saying that someone in this way of AI automation, some people will just connect tools, maybe make, a nice living every month, connect tools to AI and run with it. I think the major players are going to essentially eliminate days and weeks of holdups between waiting for this and that department to do stuff with AI models and the connections between them. By that, will generate a lot of new revenue for the business. They will essentially expedite internal processes, not just by automating different systems, but also by almost completely flattening the organizational structure in a way, from the system perspective.
This is very abstract, and I don't want to shut anything down, but the way I see it is this. The only reason to make this an agency, the reason you say agency and not a product, is because you need people. Okay, you need people to make it work. Is maybe because you need to figure out how to make it work. So you start as an agency, but eventually I think what you're talking about is a product. It's a product that knows how to query all the different departments and then give you an insight. You don't need a person theoretically in a few years. So the only reason it's an agency...
Let me clarify. I think that, first of all, it's ideal if an agency can turn into a product. That's the holy grail, you've won the game. But I think that before that, you need someone, let's talk about the systems in place. So extracting information from customer support and then defining it in a PRD. You need someone who knows very well how to analyze intercoms or any equivalent kind of customer support questions. And then a model on top of that extracts and kind of evaluates information. That's product A. You need a specialist who knows this product, who knows how to install it, who knows how to configure it, who knows how to kind of evaluate the prompts that you give it in order to generate better outcomes. At the start, it will be a person implementing the customer support side of things. And for the PRD side of things, you need someone who knows how to look at a model and ask them to define a PRD based on the information provided. You might need to talk to the other person and tell them, hey, you need to tune a little bit of your output so my inputs are better. But essentially, I think at the start, you need an expert here and an expert here. Also, you need someone who builds the interface for the CEO. Now, all of those could be kind of AutoGPT, agents, whatever, right? But at the start, I think that it's a very good, if you find enough of those flows inside a company and figure out which one of them is the most profitable, you will find, I believe, a lot of kind of hidden value to be extracted. You find a lot of processes that take weeks or months that you can make in a day. And just by doing that, the average executive will definitely want to continue working with you. Anybody who ever managed any type of process that involves strictly larger than one person and strictly larger than one system will tell you there are holdups for various reasons. That guy's on vacation, that system's in downtime, that information is not accurate and need to be processed by BI. There's holdups that can be eliminated by the use of these AI tools. And if somebody here, and this is the nice thing about this podcast, Agam obviously doesn't agree with me. This happens a lot. We argue a lot about different things. But that's fine, because one of us will be right at the end. Eventually, 2 years from now, we're going to look back at this video.
Let's make it easier.
No, wait. I'm on a spiel. Let me finish my spiel. So 2 years from now, we're going to look back at this video. This is exactly why we started recording these things, because we've been at it for, 3-4 years by now, Agam. I don't know. We've been at it for a long while doing this back and forth. And again, it's usually contained to our WhatsApp group. But this is why I love this, because I'm going to win this discussion. And interviewers are going to look back at this video and I'm going to tell Agam, remember how I told you that this is going to happen? And he's going to say, no, you didn't say. And then I can tell him, oh, but I did. And then we have the video to show it. So I'm very excited by this.
You could in 2 years look back at it and say, yeah, there's someone who takes the interdisciplinary aspect in companies and automates it. And there's AI, because at that point there will be AI. I'm just not sure it's that exact storyline and path to get there. And I'll explain, but before that, the more important part is, let's say I'm going with you, okay? Tomorrow you want to start this AI agency. What do you do? Give me steps. Let's make it concrete. How does it work? Because it's too abstract for me at this point.
It is exactly the things that business consultants and management consultants already do. I think that if you are a business consultant, or you can find somebody that does business consulting and kind of collaborate with them and try and understand the types of processes that they work with businesses, I wouldn't start with like small businesses, like, restaurants, small mom and pop shops. I would start with like larger organizations, so 10 plus people, where there are departments and things to organize. And I will come in as part of this business consultant and create some sort of package and essentially say the business consultant will come in and define what needs to happen. And I will implement the AI systems to make it happen. So the process in the business should be as follows. And instead of writing documents and letting people follow them, we will create systems that extract a lot of those data using AI models and that feed them back into a central system. Now, I'm pretty sure all of the info is already out there. So the models for each side of the equation and the presentation panel, which can be even a Google Doc or an email message, are already there. You can use normal kind of automation tools to create them and put them up.
I'm a startup with 100 people. You're coming to me. What do you do? First day.
Again, depending on what the most pressing problems they have currently, it could be churn, it could be growth, it could be whatever. I figure out the first problem at hand. And again, it could be any.
I already have Mixpanel. I see churn. And I'm working. We have a few issues on our GitHub in the repository to fix some problems we think could be fixed. What do you do?
So the tickets, that how long have they been sitting stale in the waiting for sprint to be worked on?
It varies. One is half a year, one is a month, one happened yesterday.
Perfect. So every week I will surface up a report to the executive telling them that this is the most pressing problem that we think we should fix in order to create less churn, to reduce our churn. And then the CEO...
How do you do that? And where is the AI?
Terrific question. So when looking at the intercom and the salespeople reports and the customer success reports and whatever, I believe that there will be a model to extract information outside of intercom, a model to extract information outside of Salesforce for like the sales and customer success. Sorry?
A script, not a model.
Well, a script to extract and a model to analyze. So it will analyze the data and generate some sort of human readable output. It will then have another script that looks through GitHub and pulls out the relevant tickets and then associates those tickets, even if they have no correlation to the actual problem. Surface it up to the CEO and show him, again, once a week, this ticket has been worked on for such and such time and is related to this problem. And this is the severity of that problem. Kind of an
So you're basically saying I should fire my product person because he isn't doing his job.
I'm saying that even if you have a good product person, he might be overloaded with product research, with UX research, with things that are still relatively difficult to do at scale with AI. And I would like for the humans to work on what humans should work on and allow the models to work on what models should be working on. That's what I'm saying. And if you have a smart product person, for now, nobody can, again, for now, it's very difficult to say where the industry is going. There's no model who can tell you where the industry is going. There are models who can tell you what trends happening in the world and perhaps how your features compare to other product features. But there isn't a model who tells you what the next innovation step should be automatically. That's still something you need to explore. You can get your product person to work on that, and as maybe the chief product officer or like the CEO of the company, you can deal with the smaller things. So what do we know from the customer support and how much work is being done on that by the engineering team? You can solve that using, I think, smart.
I think just a small aspect from my side, because I'm still not bought on this, I would definitely do this success-based. So you come into the company, you give out an idea, you test it out, you give it some KPIs, and your payment, your fee would be correlated directly to that outcome. Otherwise, I think it's too abstract and it's very hard to sell. After that, you gain some trust and maybe you can transition to a retainer, but I would start with that.
I completely agree. And we haven't talked about the pricing of all of this and how this should work. But I think maybe, and this is something that we've learned by doing this podcast, in this episode 19, 20, I don't remember anymore. There's like, we've done this for a while now. And one thing that we learned over time and refined over time is the fact that we don't have to give you all the data. We don't have to feed you with everything. You guys are smart. You can take what we tell you and then run with it. And this is where you guys come in. If this makes sense to you and this is interesting to you, please let us know. We want to help. We want to be involved.
And the opposite. I want to see people on my side commenting that they're like, what is Tom talking about?
Yeah, exactly. So either you're on Team Agam, bad team, or you're on Team Tom, good team. And then you should essentially...
If you're on Team Agam, you should thumbs up. Team Tom, thumbs down.
Exactly, but the opposite, right? So essentially, if you want to do this and you think this is interesting and you want somebody who maybe can give you a different perspective or maybe can help you figure out what tools are required you should work.
Yeah, just DM Tom or me.
Yeah, just tell us. We'd be happy to hear. And this has been a relatively long episode, so thank you very much for watching.
Sorry, everyone, for wasting your time. Bye-bye.
Bye.